welcome to Tristan channel. Now, I've already done a video on Ouija boards about history and stuff like that, and as explained, I've got one myself, so I know. So I'm not just going off claims and whatever. So I know if there's any credence behind it because I have one. And all I can say was, for all the good it is, I might as well use it as a breadboard or something like that. Because, you know, you essentially waste your money. Oh, go away. So I'm trying to download stuff at the same time. But yeah, no, science. But like I said in that video, and I keep trying to explain to people, because people are like, oh, don't mess with Ouija boards, they're dangerous. They're nonsense. The fact, and they've been debunked by the word they use in this is different, because I thought it was is it oh god, subliminal muscle movement, something called motor something or other. Subtle movements in your hands that you're not aware of, like muscle movement, subtle muscle movement, but there's a name for it which I forgot. So here you go. This is an article that explains the science, as it were, because it probably does a better job of doing it. Let me just clear some of this at the top. Excuse me a second. Right. So how Ouija boards work. Hint, it's not ghost. No, it's not ghost. No, demons will not possess you if you use one. The other thing is, it was a gimmick as well. It was actually a game. It's that time of the year again, the season when paranormal entities come out to play. Oh, I think it must have been published during Halloween. But if you think about grabbing a Ouija board for your next conversation with the other side, you might want to think again. Despite their long history as a hoax, it's been long established, ladies and gentlemen, that they're hoaxes. And also, I said in my video, ironically enough, it's weird. It's like religion. It's like religious people. Only religious people get possessed by demons. No atheist has been possessed by a demon. It's only religious people, or people with religious ties to their family. But the odd thing about Ouija boards is weird things only happen, or they only seem to work when you believe in them, or if you're someone who genuinely believes in that sort of stuff. And also, they only seem to work when more than one person does it. So that means at least one of you is actually moving it, whether it be unintentional. Intentional or unintentional. If these things actually genuinely work, I should be able to sit there on my board and then and contact the spirits and stuff like that. No, the amount of time, the length of time I've owned one, nothing's happened. Nothing's gone bumps in the night. I'm being attacked by demons in my bed. Nothing's happened. So it's a waste of money. Despite a long history as a hoax, spiritualist devices turned hit toys, turned tools of the devil, Ouija boards won't actually put you in contact with demons or spirits. Any scary first-hand reports you might hear or read of real-life Ouija board horror stories are exaggerations, false claims, or a misunderstanding of how Ouija boards actually work. See, the gimmick is, that's the beauty of the gimmick, is the fact that it's your subliminal muscle memory that's doing it. And the fact that it's like, oh, how does it do it? How does it do it? Is the gimmick. It's meant to be a bit of fun, a bit of a lark at parties. You used to have the spirit boards that could move across like a discus, like, what I mean? It was a gimmick. It was to do it fun at parties, a novelty thing. Oh, let's contact the ghosties. You know what I mean? It was a gimmick. That might be disappointing news if you're hosting a Halloween sleepover, but it might also leave you asking, how do Ouija boards work? The answer is surprisingly simple. Ouija boards rely on the power of your own body. If you've never used a Ouija board, the concept is pretty straightforward. With a group or by yourself, you place your hands slightly on a triangular pointer called a planchette. The planchette rests on the body itself, which has the words yes and no in the top corners, and an alphabet in the centre, and the word goodbye at the bottom. The idea is to summon the spirits you want to communicate with, and they'll move the planchette across the board to spell out the answers to your questions until they or you finally say goodbye and the spirits go back to where they came from. It all sounds pretty harmless, but there's a long tradition of people believing that Ouija boards are dangerous occult gateways that lead to demonic possession or worse. After all, what happens if a non-friendly spirit that's moving the planchette without your control? In fact, there is a simple scientific explanation. The mysterious mechanism that powers a Ouija board is called ideomotor effect, pronounced idiomotor or motor, or idiometer, and is basically a way for your body to talk to itself. The idiomotor fingers, because I've read most things that squish me up. The idiomotor effect is an example of unconscious or involuntary physical movement. That might be the word I was trying to think of, but yeah. It's like even with a pendulum. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if my arm. It's like pendulums. It doesn't matter if my arm's dead. I can hold it dead still like that. It wouldn't matter. There's the movement between these two tips here. That will move it, but you won't notice it. If you were zoomed in, probably with a micro thingamajig, then you could probably good. The idiomotor's effect is an example of unconscious involuntary physical movement. That is, we move when we're not trying to move. If you ever experience a sudden feeling of jerking awake, known as hyponic jerk, hypnic jerk, sorry, you've experienced a more abrupt version of the idiomotor. Yeah, or I sometimes get that if I go to sleep. I'm not sure if you had it when you go to sleep. You suddenly go like that. It's just really weird. You've experienced a more abrupt effect. Your brain signaling your body to move without your conscious awareness. The obvious difference is that the idiomotor effect happens when you're awake, so the reflective movements you make are smaller. In the case of a Ouija board, your brain may unconsciously create images and memories when you ask the board questions. Your body responds to your brain without you consciously telling it to do so, causing muscles in your hand and arms to move the pointer to the answers that you again unconsciously may want to receive. There are multiple. That's the other thing as well, because someone did actually say to me, yeah, but ironically though, philosophically though, depending on your view of consciousness, did I turn those on? Yeah, so I don't need them now, do I? I usually have lights up effect, but again, so I did point out though, because what if though? If it's not good as a tool to tap into the spiritual world, it would be a good tool to tap into your subconscious. Because if your subconscious is supplying answers, then maybe it could be a good tool to ask yourself stuff. The only problem is, I said, I can't get it to doing it by itself on my own. It's oddly only works with boards, only seem to work mostly more effectively with more than one person. So therefore, either you or someone else is moving it. And from what I've done, the times where there's a board that actually worked. To be fair, I think it was one of the people involved, because a lot of the answers were suspect. You know, it wasn't rocket science to knew that they would one of them was doing it. So there are multiple scientific studies that have shown various instances of idiomotor effect in action. In one well-known, oft-repeated variant of the Ouija board test, blindfolded participants spell much more incoherent messages. You can try this one at home, which is interesting, because that illustrates if spirits are doing the talking, then you should be able to do a Ouija board blindfolded and they spell out the details. Pardon me. So the fact that it can't do it when you're blindfolded, But then again, people might say, yes, but the spirits are using your eyes. They don't need to. The idea is you're holding your light fingers. This thing, see, the idea is you're not meant to be the one moving it. Your fingers are lightly touching it. It's the ghosts that come along with their finger or their hand and gone. You know what I mean? So if they're using you, again, that's just another way of saying it's me that's moving it. These experiments are easily demonstrate that the Ouija board only works when the participants are able to manipulate the pointer themselves. If a ghost or spirit were really in the room, it would be able to direct the planchette to spell out coherent messages without any assistance. But there is no ghost, and when the Ouija board users are deprived of their ability to spell out words they can see, the game rapidly devolves into gibberish. The idiomotor effect is actually a powerful subconscious tool. Before Ouija boards were invented, spiritualists and other would-be ghost communicators used makeshift devices called talking boards that served a similar purpose. Talking boards first became popular in the mid-19th century America, when millions of people suddenly gained an interest in talking to the dead. following a tremendous loss of life in the Civil War. So I like to chill when I'm doing these videos. The popularity of talking boards and their use as tools to exploit grieving war families meant scientists actually started studying the ideomotor effect in the mid-century, well before Ouija boards and planchettes were patented in 1890. So the researchers started years ago. They're like, what's doing this? Over the years, researchers determined that ideomotor effect is closely tied to subconscious awareness and that its effect is maximised when the subject believes he has no control of his movements. Paradoxically, the less control you think you have, the more control your subconscious mind is actually exerting. This is where the Ouija board triangular pointer comes in. The planchette makes it easier to subconsciously control your muscle movements because it focuses and directs them even while you believe you aren't in control of them. It's also why the planchette seems to move even more effectively when multiple people are using the planchette at once. It frees everyone's minds to subconsciously generate creepy Ouija board answers together. The effect might also make the Ouija board an effective tool to help you tap into your own subconscious. Hey, there you go, like I said earlier. Me and my friend was saying, it's like, yeah, but surely there's some other uses to this. So, I don't know. Problem is, because I'm sceptical anyway, and that's because I was hoping, no, don't get wrong, I was tempting it. I looked like another Zach Baggins. I was like, come on, prove me wrong. Nothing happened. But it's annoying now because even though I don't believe in it, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I should try and do it where it's like, next time I try it, maybe I should try it where it's like, I'm talking to myself. Or get myself, try and tap into my subconscious, or, if I'm aware, if I mentally plant the idea that it's me that I'm trying to think or talk to, it might move. I don't know. It might be talking to myself, because we pick up. Because the thing is, even on a subconscious level, we pick up lots of information. Where it would be, you could be talking to someone, but it'd be a TV playing in the background. Because I've been listening to quiz shows and come up with random answers about history. I have no bloody clue where I picked them up on. And the simple scientific explanation for that is I picked it up in the background. I may not be paying attention to it, but I still picked it up, so therefore my brain records it. There's the simplest scientific one for that. To help your own subconscious. In one study published in 2012, scientists found that using Ouija board allowed subjects to recall factual information with more accuracy than it would if they weren't using the board. Participants were instructed to answer a series of yes-no questions and to rate whether they are confident in their answers or merely guessing. Later, they were subjected to another round of questions, but used a Ouija board to indicate yes or no, once again rating their confidence level in their answers. Oh, I see. So, you ask me a question, and I use the board to give you an answer. Well, that sounds fun. It'd be like truth or dare, you know what I mean? Because it could be like, are you telling the truth? It'd be like, you want to say no. I say, for example, you want to get out something embarrassing. You want to go to no, but your hand goes to yes. Like, oh no, don't do that. Once again, rating their confidence level in their answers. Or you can see it hesitate and go up to no. It's like, you're lying, aren't you? Anyway, so in cases where a participant believed they didn't know an answer, they were able to give more correct answers more often when using a Ouija board than they believed they were only guessing on their own. This is the other bit that's interesting when I was talking to my friends about this. The researchers behind this study have gone on to speculate that using the Ouija board as a technique to unlock subconscious knowledge could lead to insights about the early onset of Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases. So even as a gimmick, it's a useful gimmick. In other words, the Ouija board is potentially a very powerful communication tool, just not in the way most people think. So, like, if people have had near-death experiences or they've seen loved ones, or experienced certain instances in their life, it's like, well, subconsciously, it's wishful thinking. It's like, oh, were you there, Mum? Or did I see you, Grandad? You know what I mean? It's wishful thinking. You know what I mean? Subconscious wishful thinking. You hope it was going to say yeah. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you consciously go for this experiment. I don't want it to say yeah, because I would love for it to say yeah, but you know, ideally, I want it to be an honest experiment. The problem is your subconscious knows what you want. The only effect that's much more than Ouija boards includes several harmful real-life scams and therapies. The appeal of the idiomotor effect is that you actually may be communicating with something you can't typically access, your own subconscious, and that experience can feel like communicating with something paranormal or unknown. This real physical effect causes some people to believe that seemingly miraculous or paranormal phenomena are behind certain behaviours and occurrences. It is a common element of demonic possession hoaxes, since witnesses come to believe the possessed person is moving without her own control. It can also convince people that they have the gift of automatic writing, meaning insists that spirits can communicate with the living through their uncontrolled handwriting. Often the idiomotor effect is used to defraud people who visit exorcists, psychics, mediums, and other self-proclaimed spiritual challenging types, sometimes leading to severe financial, physical, and psychological harm. Dowsing is an example of the inner effect. There you go. That's the dowsing rods. Yeah, those rods like that. Go like that. Sorry. Sorry, it's bothering me a little bit. Also, that's about pendulum as well. But yeah. And dowsing is another example of idiomotor example exploited for financial gain. The practice whose stated purpose is to find water or other things located underground or concealed within something else. Involves holding a special device like a dowsing rod or divining rod and letting the idiomotor effect cause your hand to mysteriously point to the location of the desired object or substances. These devices have been scientifically tested and debunked again and again. This is why you should never use those rods in ghost hunting. I'm sorry. I mean, some have argued that now it's like... Because... I think the best ones to use, actually, there are rods you can use which have been changed. There's ones where it's like... you've got two hollow tubes and the rods sit in those tubes. So... you can't touch the rods itself, so the rods are free to move like that, if that makes sense. Is probably more convincing in terms of using those rods, but if you're just holding it skin onto rod, like flesh, like actually holding onto it, don't know if you holding on it slightly, it's still your muscles doing it. But that hasn't stopped their purveyors from falsely claiming they can detect everything from gold to liver disease and hepatitis to harmful earth radiations. In 2013, one charlatan was convinced of selling nearly 70 million in fake bomb detectors to Iraqi police. Finally, the idiomotor effect lies behind a controversial, repeatedly debunked form of pseudoscience therapy called facilitated communication, which emerged as a popular therapy technique in the 1990s. Facilitated communication claims to work by allowing disabled autistic patients to communicate through slight finger movements. In reality, science has proved many times over that patients' movements are caused by idiomotor effect, and that their caregivers are reading meaning into nothing. One scientist even referred to facilitate communication as Ouija board stuff. So I hate to say it, and it's sad, I know, but if you've got someone in a coma and their finger moves, it doesn't mean they can hear you. It's really sad that, but that's the case. I mean, there is scientific proof that there is scientific speculation they might be able to still hear what's going on, but they won't be able to respond to you, or, you know what I mean, that finger movement isn't them responding and stuff like that. I mean, usually if the finger movement did mean that, it means they're coming out of their coma. Usually that's when they come out of their coma, they start moving their hands and their eyes open, but it's just general twitches. It means nothing. The disastrous effects of fake therapy include a sex abuse case in which the caregiver claimed she was using facilitated communication to obtain consent from a patient, and a devastating parental custody case where manipulative caregivers used it to suggest that the children involved had accused their parents of abuse. Sadly, it still exists today as a fraudulent speech therapy technique used with autism patients disguised under various names, like rapid prompting method, supporting type, or progressive kinetic feedback. Ironically, the same factor lies at the heart of both the cause and the effect of Indianomotor phenomena. We want to believe. Our desire to confirm the existence of ghosts, spirits, and other improbable abilities is what convinces Ouija board users, facilitate communication with proponents, and anyone else who encounters the Indianomotor effect in action, that they experience something real, a real visitation from another dimension, some sort of mystical sign, or an indication that a patient trapped in his own mind suddenly be able to break free and communicate. Again, like I said, if you notice a lot of these videos, if you believe it's going to happen or weird shit's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like a placebo effect thing. It's like people get possessed by demons. I've yet to see an atheist. If it happened to an atheist or a scientist, it'll be on the front page. That's it. Bang! So again, it's nonsense. You have to believe. Yeah, it oddly works if you believe, but again, that means it's all up down to you, then it's not something supernatural. But the marvellous thing about a Ouija board isn't what a planchette might read or a psychic might claim that spirits are saying through it from the other side. In reality, the true wonder of the board is what lies within our own subconscious. I agree. It's... yeah, there you go. Interesting article. But yeah, that's what... see, that's the problem. See, I won't be able to get it to work for my subconscious now because I don't believe it. I'm like, oh, it's crap. I never start to think, wow, maybe I should try something different. But yeah, but people go, oh, don't use Ouija boards, they're dangerous. And you see these videos where people still use them. And I'm sat there going, I'm sorry, I call bullshit because they've been debunked. I'm not saying the people are lying. I'm not saying you're lying. But they're bullshit. It's like, you need to stop putting credence behind these things that are not true. Like I said, I've got one in my house and nothing bad's happened. No, I mean, there's lots of noises, but I've always had noises in the house or hearing from next door and stuff like that. In fact, you know, as someone who's open-minded, I've had more success from ghost apps, you know, the leading ones like Spirit Talker and Necrophonic, things like that. I've had more success with them. But that's because they're using it's picking up electromagnetic waves and stuff. So if there's something there, it would pick it up through that. You know what I mean? So, but a Ouija board is just a bit of wood. You know what I mean? There's no technology behind it. I'm sure with technology we could find stuff or detect stuff and things like that. But yeah. So I'm not just saying this based on science, because people go, oh yeah, but I've got a board and it works. This is why it's working, people. It may be so scared beyond your understanding, but this is how it works. Still doesn't take away how incredible it is, because that's the thing is, right, people seem to think that these answers ruin magic. No, because that's, like they said, there's something more incredible to this. We still have yet to tap into the subconscious mind and study that and what the secrets are of the subconscious mind, all that really philosophical cool stuff that we barely scratched the surface or tapped into. There's still magic there. It's just a science we can't explain yet. Don't copyright me, Marvel, please. It's like Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. The magic in Doctor Strange, or Thor. Me and Marvel, like I say, it's still energy, still science. It's a science we haven't discovered yet. You know, if I could build a weapon that could channel lightning, may seem like magic, but a scientist, if he stripped it apart, he'd be like, well, no, it's because he can control the gravitons and the blah 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 in this thing. It's like what's it called it in CW Flash, where they create a wand called to stop this guy who controls weather, and if he goes to attack you with lightning, you can stop it with this wand. They called it a wand, but it's not. It's a rod, basically, technology and circuitry and stuff like that. But when you look at how that works, well, you could reverse that, can't you, to control weather, surely? Because I think a villain did that, where they controlled the weather with it, or helped focus it. It's kind of like, well, isn't that what Thor's hammer is? It looks like a primitive hammer, but isn't it just a form of technology that can cause ionization in the atmosphere or something to that effect? You know what I mean? Like a Tesla coil, like you can zap thunder somewhere. It might not be like it is in, from the sky, what's it? Unless, of course, I don't know. Unless, of course, you point it and it causes that reaction. And you just have to practice that. Okay, if I aim my... I suppose it could be, actually, yeah. That's probably how he does it. If you had a technology that could cause a reaction, I know it would take a lot of power source, but just welcome me here, people. It could come down to, if I target... Obviously, if he wants to attack... Because he attacks enemies around him, he aims straight up, doesn't he? So if you had a rod that could control the weather, it's like you want to hit something in front of you, and obviously you want to cause that area to ionize, to create the lightning effect. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, you'd aim it, wouldn't you? You work out, it would be roughly there, bang. And over the years, especially with the God of Thunder, you get practice. But yeah, you know what I mean? But there's still technology involved. But yeah, anyway, I'm going off another one there, aren't I? But yeah, it's nice. I know it's nice thinking, contact my dead relatives, and it's all in here, mate. The question is, though, is your subconscious connected to the energy of the universe? If so, are you tapping into the network, as it were? And all kinds of things. There's all kind of things, there's other philosophical ways you can go with that, but it still doesn't mean it's supernatural ghosts. So again, there's nothing behind Ouija boards. I can't believe people still use them. It's just the thing behind it. Oh, I know if they have no. If you see one, right, they have power. One, it's probably self-induced. Like they do Ouija board, they have nosebleeds. Like, oh my god, I have bad things happen to me. If you keep thinking that bad things can happen to you, they will happen to you. But the whole nosebleed things can be self-induced. Because don't forget, dreams. If you think dreams are real, there'll be rare cases where people got burnt or injured in their dreams, and it will come up on a mark, will come up on their skin where they got hurt. It's because you think it's real, so you can actually hurt yourself. If that makes sense. It's like Matrix sort of thing, where it's like if you believe you get hurt in that reality, you'll get hurt in the real world. So if I had a dream that's, it's rare, but if you had a dream that's so real, like you smashed or broke your nose and there's blood down your face, and you woke up, you'll have like a nosebleed. It may not happen, but it rarely does. You know what I mean? But you see where I'm going from that. But anyway, so yeah, I hope you found this video informative. Like I said, I got a Ouija board. You actually have more better luck with spirit talk, spirit apps and spirit boxes and stuff like that, in terms of research. But Ouija boards are silly. They're a waste of money. Don't get me wrong, they're pretty. You can get pretty designs and stuff, but yeah, they're a waste of money. They're a good novelty. They're a good party. Again, they're a good gimmick. They're good for parties, but you have to realise that when you do these things at parties, there's nothing horrible happening. It's not paranormal. It's just your subconscious. So anyway, I hope you found this video informative. Like I said, I'm not just doing this based on stuff. I'm not just dismissing it. I actually have a Ouija board at home. I even got a small one as well. I might use that one as a table mat or something. Freak people out. But yeah. So, anyway, thanks again for watching. Until next time, folks, take care and bye-bye.